Welcome to It Doesn't Take a Genius.
Ramsey!
Shh! Don't use my real name. We're at war. This is sabotage.
Oh, sabotage. All right, Edgar. Yes, yes, we're back. We're back. For those of you who absolutely loved, as much as we did, episode 307, the guide to making your organization dysfunctional.
That's a good way to put it.
We just scratched the surface. So, in episode 307, we began by introducing to you the OSS Simple Sabotage Field Manual. And if you look and read why it was created, the OSS, the precursor to the CSI, believed that sympathetic civilians who are in countries and being held by hostile forces could be trained to disrupt enemy systems with ordinary tools, ordinary access, and then the one we've been focused on, ordinary behavior. The manual focused on actions that were simple, repeatable, and this is the best part, difficult to detect. So, and then another person summed it up by, it's the manual for organizational, purposeful stupidity.
Yeah. Well, and the way you put it was, if you wanted to bring Office Space to life in your workplace, this is how to do it. But Freudian slip that you made that's just great. It was the precursor, OSS was the precursor to the CIA. You said the CSI, which tells me, how you're viewing customer surveys as well. But I digress.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we looked at the manual because it's these subtle ways to gum up the works for your organization, and we were specifically looking at meetings and communication, and today we're going to look at the manager and supervisor section. And it just dawned on me that we didn't say this directly, and I think we ought to. Newsflash, you're not at war with the people in your office, in your workplace. Your team members, your direct reports, your boss, they're not enemies. You're all theoretically on the same team. And yet these same behaviors do show up, right? Like Office Space was, created as a movie because it's true. So they show up all over the place. And why do they show up? And it's, I think as we go through this, we're going to see that, normal human pressure and a lack of clarity on the part of us in leadership and just, frustrations in general can push people towards these behaviors where it sure seems like they're fighting against you. Occasionally you will have a true guerrilla warrior who, absolutely hates the organization, hates the boss, and is doing everything in their power to destroy the thing from the inside. But I think that's an exception. For the most part, you have people who just need more clarity, need more, some pressure taken off. And, once you see those real causes, you can, coach your way out of those situations and turn sabotage into momentum. So I think that's what we can, practically say by the time we're done here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the idea, nobody's putting on their camo face paint.
Right.
About to go to the office, going to go to, do my shift at Dunkin' and undermine the entire operation. I'm going to make sure that nothing succeeds. Yeah, I think you're right. That's not happening. But I do believe that, some people we all have blind spots.
Yep.
I just don't see the impact of my behavior.
Yep.
And how it's negatively impacting productivity, engagement, satisfaction, things like that. And the idea that we've talked about this, that nobody is the villain in their own movie.
That's right.
So some of these behaviors may be being done purposefully in the hopes or the intention that it's helping.
That's right.
Right.
As much as that may be hard for us to believe.
Yeah. For the person standing there in the dysfunction going, it's not helping.
Yeah.
It's really not helping. So,
Yeah.
multiple causes here. And as we go through these, we're going to go through managers and supervisors, section B, and B 1 through 14. We won't cover all of them, but there's some that stood out better than others.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into those. And as we do that, picture in your head maybe people that you have worked for previously or currently.
Yep.
Just don't forward this video to them and go, see, this is what I'm talking about.
This is what you've been doing to me.
Yeah, it's actually, a CIA plot to undermine organizations, what you do to us every day. So, yeah, be careful. This was highly classified material. It's been unclassified.
That's
so,
right.
yeah, use it carefully.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so which one do you want to hit first here?
Managers and supervisors. I'm going with B2. Under the B2, I've got, if you're a manager or supervisor, misunderstand orders. Oh, and it gets better. Ask endless questions or engage in long correspondence about such orders. Quibble over them when you can.
You can see how that would be sabotage. Let's make sure we never execute this order. Let's just gum up the works by constantly questioning it and doubting it, and endless dialogue, bargaining around what we're actually doing here. And I can also see how this one happens in the real world, right? If I'm a manager and I've seen what happens when people make mistakes, I want to make sure I get it just right. If I've got a little bit of insecurity, if I feel exposed when things go wrong, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I don't go down, right? Look, I'm going to hold up the ship until I know that I'm going to be safe. So I get this. This happens in the real world. Fear of blame, fear of past mistakes makes people overly cautious.
Yeah, if you've got low psychological safety, you know that the manager's quick to blame you, then yeah, I'm going to ask endless questions, and I'm engaging in written correspondence in order to create the CYA, the cover your backside trail.
Yep.
So I want it in writing that you
That's
said I'm supposed to do this.
Yep.
And so, yeah, as a supervisor, if I've created a lack of trust, an unsafe environment, it feels like a gotcha culture, then all of a sudden, every time I give an order or ask somebody to do something, I get endless questions, and I want them, and they keep wanting me to put it in writing.
Yeah.
And half of their questions are, all right, so what do you mean by? When you say end of day, is that 5 o'clock or is that 11:59? And as a manager, you're going, just do the thing.
Just do it.
Just do it. All right, so that was one of my faves. What do you got?
Well, let me just say, we preach RPC around here, respect-based performance coaching, and imagine if you're the kind of person who has built in a rhythm of regular conversations with your people, checking in on how they're doing, what's working, what opportunities they have, what do they need from you. You're going to have some psychological safety built up. You're going to have that opportunity to say, do you know what's expected? Do you see how you're doing with it? What do you need from me to make sure you're able to continue with this? And if a new order gets sprinkled into that rhythm, no problem. We've got a once a month or once every 2 weeks, system in place to take care of that. So that's one of them.
Oh yeah, yep. No, I think if it's and I've asked people before, somebody asks feedback, and I'll ask, is this a yell and tell culture or is this a learning culture? What do you guys have here? And if it's yell and tell, I'm not going to tell you what happened because you're just going to use it to beat somebody. If it's a learning culture and you guys genuinely want to get better, if you do make a mistake, then sure, I'll give you some feedback because I know you'll use it to improve.
Yep.
And so, yeah, if you've got a learning culture, then yeah, mistakes are going to happen. Can we grow from those versus using those as a baseball bat?
That's it. That's it. Safety. The next one I wanted to talk about was number three. Do everything possible to delay the delivery of. Oh, I'm on the wrong line. It's number four. Don't order new working materials until your current stocks have been virtually exhausted, so that the slightest delay in filling your order will mean a shutdown. Now, anybody who has got a little bit of manufacturing in their background or process improvement in their background is familiar with just-in-time delivery. So I want to highlight that this kind of predates JIT. Dr. Deming had not worked his wonders until after World War II in Japan. Detroit was kind of listening to him for a while during the war, but obviously this was about making sure that we have stocks exhausted. And okay, does this happen in today's workforce? Do you think?
Oh, yeah.
I think it does.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you see people and they say, yeah, I can't do that. We're out of such and such form,
Right.
and sometimes I'll even ask, so how many of those do you use in a week? Well,
Yep.
300 or 400. And then how many do you order a week? 400.
Yep.
Like, is there
Uh,
a storage problem? Is there a budget
yeah.
problem where we couldn't have
Yep.
some extras in case that? No, we just wait to the last minute and pray that the person we ordered from it will take what is
Yep.
that? What is it? Yeah, a mistake on your part does not constitute emergency on my part.
Right.
And so some people just live in that, just cutting it close.
Yeah. Well, and,
Yeah.
and there can be controllers and so on who are saying, hey, our budget's tight, or we need to make sure we don't over
Mhm.
order, and so they everybody plays it safe. There's that safe word again, so that there's no I mean in extreme circumstances it can be write-offs and in stuff that you're actually selling. I don't think that's really what we're talking about here, but
Mhm.
just the idea that hey, we could be a little proactive. We could be proactive about coming up with what's the appropriate buffer, what's the appropriate check to say, hey, let me raise the flag to say it's time to order more. In fact, let me write that down. I actually need to go get Chemex coffee filters for my house. I just remembered that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I remember I pulled up to the Arby's drive-through one time, and I was going to order, and the person on the speaker said, "Oh, welcome to Arby's. Before you order, we need to let you know we're out of roast beef." Like, isn't that kind of your thing?
My
I can
my
see.
wife is going to be so tickled to hear that you said that, because that's like one of her fondest memories of New Year's Eve is very late at night going through the Arby's drive-through and they did not have roast beef, and she could not, like, why do you exist? Why are you even
Yeah,
here?
yeah. I'm not here for the chicken tenders. This is your number one job. Did
Wow.
you not, anticipate maybe a little extra demand?
Yeah. And of course the hard part here is that who knows how far up the stream this happened. Did the
Right.
manufacturer put some pressure on a supplier, and now you know we'd love to fix that car that we put a recall on, but nobody makes the part anymore. That's that there's levels of this that happen as well. So that's a self sabotage for sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
All right, next one for you.
I went with number six. So as a manager or supervisor, when making work assignments, always sign out the unimportant jobs first. See that the unimportant jobs are, or see that the important jobs are assigned to the most inefficient workers, and make sure they're on the worst machines. So take your best people, give them the worst job, and then put them in the worst environment.
This is really common. This happens a lot.
Yeah, can't think about how many one-on-ones I've been in where the manager's complaining about just this thing.
Yeah.
They got me working on the TPS report when actually I need to be helping my salespeople close deals.
Yep.
But now I'm over here. They want to know how many raisins are in each cookie in the service waiting area. So I'm out here counting the raisins, or better yet, I took a guy and I now have him counting the raisins
Yep.
in the cookies,
Yep.
to see if we got the right number.
And that says to me that, somebody doesn't understand the strengths of their team members in assigning that work. Or, this is even scarier, they know the strengths. They know what they've just done, but they're just not willing to have the hard conversations, the difficult conversations with so and so to say, I'm putting you on this because this is not a strength for you. This other thing is. I'm not willing to tell somebody you're off the case because that's not an effective use of your skills. I just don't even want to go there. So I'll just let somebody continue to work in mediocrity.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the idea of signing out the unimportant jobs first. I went into a service department one day, and they were short an advisor, and it was just chaos. Everybody was so busy, and I asked the service manager. I said, "Where's your advisor?" And he said, "Oh, I sent him up to my vacation house to winterize my boat." Like what?
Well, the morning rush is starting. See you guys soon.
Yeah. I got to go winterize the manager's boat. Yeah, and the place was just chaos. But somewhere in the manager's head, he thought that was the most important thing that person should be doing at that time.
I'm guilty myself personally of, I want to just get this one thing done, like get it out of my head.
Right.
And I understand that. But, when you're thinking about, matching talent to the task, right? Like being really intentional about that as a group. Just first off, have you intentionally thought through what people's strengths are and celebrate, those wins when you have them. But then, the real way, a real way to celebrate those wins is to put people on that kind of work. So, I think that's a big deal.
Oh yeah, well, matching up the skills, and like it says, don't match your inefficient people with your mission critical skills.
Right.
Or activities or processes. So
Yeah.
the idea that, who's going to be best at this? Yeah, can I train and put people into situations where they're going to get better? Absolutely. But yeah, if it's peak season, if it's Black Friday, it's game day, then I need my best people in the key positions.
Yep.
All right, what do you got?
So number 7 is a fun one. Insist on perfect work in relatively unimportant products. Send back for refinishing those which have the least flaw. And at the same time, approve other defective parts whose flaws are not visible to the naked eye. So, you can see why you do that in wartime for sure. But why would you insist on perfection for unimportant stuff and then overlook, defective stuff when it actually does matter? Why would that happen?
Well, so you could absolutely destroy the morale and confidence of the person who did the work the first time. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, I've turned out something that, I've obviously passed it on. I feel like, this is pretty good. This meets the standards. Or maybe even feel like that's really nice. And then the boss kicks it back to you and goes, well, if you hold up just right and you look at this angle, you can see there's a little nick right there. And you have to look at it 3 times to figure out what he's talking about.
Yep.
And at some point, your morale, your confidence in your ability to do the job just is destroyed. It's just completely undermined.
Well, and think about how many, we talk about the disc styles a lot, but there can be, some disc styles that operate differently under stress. And, in some cases, it sort of triggers this perfectionist tendency in yourself. And so you want to, you want to get it right. Well, what I'll do is I'll hold on to that work to get it right. Right? Like I'll keep, I should be moving on to higher priority items, but I just want to get this, this report, this schedule, this CRM report, something that it's just not the most important thing, but I'm going to get it perfect. partly because I can. It's something I can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, I hate to say it, but it's busy work, right? Like I'm doing this because it's easier than going on to the, you know, the biggest rock that I really need to be busting up. I can bust these smaller ones and feel productive, but I really need to be getting on that big rock. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just focusing on visible busy work to feel productive, or just having that perfectionist tendency that makes you feel like I've just got to get this right. I think that happens in our heads, and it spills over into how our work interacts with the people around us. It just takes up too much time.
Oh, yeah, no, I think you're completely right. And the other half of that, right? Approve defective parts whose flaws are not visible. So I know it's wrong, but I'm going to send it on anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, from a sabotage standpoint, fantastic.
Yeah, that's right.
You're doing perfect. Yeah, from an everyday business that I want to succeed standpoint, terrible.
Yeah, this
And
may
so,
truly be the guerrilla warrior, right? Because this is the guy who he's an assassin, right? I'm going to send up jacked up work that I know Billy Bob is going to take the blame for, right? I'm gonna pass the buck on up, and he's going to get the blame eventually when this is discovered, because eventually it will be discovered, and that you could really put somebody out to pasture that way if you're really wanting to. So I
oh
think that
yeah.
is actual sabotage, but you know,
Yeah, and I heard a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard the story that there was folks, they'd been captured by the Germans, Czechoslovakia, someplace like that, and they were forced to make munitions, and so they were cranking out munitions for the German army, and one of these munitions was dropped on a building that our Americans were in, and when they went to, it didn't go off. So when they went to defuse it, they took it apart. Inside of it was sawdust and a note that said, "Hope you're well. We're doing everything we can at our end."
oh, that's awesome.
Like we're we've been captured, but we're still trying to help.
I want that story to be true. That's great.
There was another one where the slave labor that had been captured were making rifles, so they took over that country's arms manufacturing, and they were making the sights off. So the front sight was bent. So the Germans who were issued the rifles couldn't hit anybody.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and this, a lot of this manual talks about like literal sabotage of physical product, and one it's such simple things. Like one was, make sure you don't leave a saw except bent. Like never let it be flat. Let it be slightly bent, because it'll warp much faster and ruin the saw. Like you can do things like that. You can just
Yeah.
nobody's going to blame you. And
Yeah.
that's the point of all this is it just doesn't look like anything on the surface. So all right, what's the next one for you?
This is a classic. It's one of the reasons we have jobs.
That's what I thought. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So number 9, when training new workers, give incomplete or even misleading instructions.
Like, we need to edit this out of the podcast, Mike. We'll be out of a job if people,
Oh
follow
yeah,
this
yeah.
whole-
If they fix this one, we're toast. It's not going to be good. So yeah, when training new workers, give incomplete or misleading instructions. So this leads me to one of my questions that I ask every new hire when I'm in a business. So I always introduce you. Hey, this is Bob. He's been with us 2 weeks. He came over
Yep.
from whatever. Fantastic. Welcome to the team. Do all that. And then I go, okay, so what have you figured out that you wish you would have been told the first day?
Great question.
And man, you get the wildest answers. Like, I wish they'd have told me there was actually 2 forms to do this, or I wish they had told me that this if you don't do this, this is actually illegal. This is a violation of some state statute or something. And
I'm a felon now.
I did it wrong for 2 weeks, before somebody caught it,
Yeah.
So yeah, just as soon as you ask that question, you find the gap in, okay, what was this person, not told?
Right.
And then sometimes, yeah, they were told something that turned out that, yeah, we don't do that here. It's just some leftover instruction from somewhere.
Yeah. I think of this, we've in the past have worked in some really high turnover environments. And I know that there are managers and coworkers who think, I don't know if I can bring myself to fully train somebody again. It's such wasted effort. I think that really happens. People just say, well, we don't have a lot of time. They seem smart. They'll figure it out if they're going to last. Throw everybody up against the wall and see who sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it's the exact opposite, right? It's part of the reason you have high turnover is because you haven't been willing to give everybody the clarity that they really need, so that they have the complete instructions. They know what to do, know how to ask questions, and develop.
Oh, no, I think you're completely right. Our favorite story on this uh, came from one of our clients in Ohio, and we asked about the first day. And this poor kid, he got hired by an amusement park, and they brought him in. They said, "All right, you're in the gaming section," which they had the basketball thing and the pick a duck and all that.
Yep.
And they put this guy in the guess your weight or age booth.
Wonderful job.
No instruction, no, no practice, and so yeah, you got
There's
this
no
poor
way you
guy.
can screw this up as a teenage boy who doesn't know.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way this could go right. It's just,
Right.
yeah, I see no way without with a whole lot of good training and practice could we ever do it. And he said he didn't even last the morning.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot
You
that
know,
part.
yeah, just it was over. So yeah, what do you? And there again, if you just ask your new people,
Yep.
all right, what is it that you wish you'd have been told sooner that you've now figured out?
Yeah.
And then update the training manual, right? Just put that in there. Uh, or if somebody tells you something, or if you tell somebody something, and they utter this statement, well, that would have been good to know.
Be listening for that.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been good to know 3 days ago or when I started. Yeah, that would have been helpful. So, yeah, when you hear that, you go, okay, training's got gaps in it, might have some work to do there.
And this is a good chance to plug our workshops. We have one. It's part of a series, but we have one on how to onboard, and we have a pretty good structure and process for making sure you don't have those gaps, and that you get a chance to check regularly in those early days of that employment for the understanding that they get it, that they don't have any additional questions. So we get in touch with us if there's something you are interested in there.
Oh, absolutely. All right, what do you got?
Okay, so I've lost my place here. I'm trying to look at two different documents at the same time. There's one about being pleasant to inefficient workers.
Yes.
Where is it? I've lost it.
Oh, yeah, number 10.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, B10.
To lower morale and with it production, they tend to go hand in hand. Be pleasant to inefficient workers. Be pleasant to them. Give them undeserved promotions. Discriminate against efficient workers. Complain unjustly about their work. This happens a lot too.
Oh,
right?
this one is
This happens a
huge.
lot.
It's-
I was just going to say that, again, we're back to if I want to avoid conflict, right? If as a manager, if I have a desire to be liked, right? Or if I'm frustrated with a top performer who seems to just, I'll call them a prima donna, right? They're just a prima donna. Maybe,
yeah.
or maybe they're challenging the status quo because they want to see things made better, right? They're not at war with you. It's not on purpose. So, and yeah, sometimes there's burnout things going on in the manager's head, and there's unclear performance standards all the way up and down the chain. But Yeah, I think a lot of times this kind of boils down to I've shot my fire at the wrong direction because of something I'm perceiving as, ooh, that's too hard of a conversation, or I don't want anybody to think I'm the bad guy, or that that guy's getting too big for his britches. There's an ego thing going on, I guess is what I'm saying. So I think this can happen a lot.
Well, I think you're right. I think the ego thing comes from insecurity on the manager's part.
Oh yes,
Your high performers typically hold themselves to a higher standard, and in
yep,
turn, they hold the manager to a higher standard.
that's right.
And if that manager's not up to that standard, then now they start to, as this says, discriminate against the efficient worker.
That's right.
Like you said, they label them, right? This guy's difficult. He's hard to manage. He's
Yep,
not a team player.
yep,
All that stuff comes into play when actually he's trying to push the whole organization to be better, and
that's
the
it.
the manager isn't up to the task. And then the second half of this, right? Be pleasant to the inefficient worker. All I'm thinking about is the inefficient worker has time to be the apple polisher, the brown noser, the teacher's pet, right? Just he's got time to suck up to the manager. So it's
Yeah,
very easy for the manager to spend time with this person, to
get to know
engage with
them.
that person,
Yep.
and to the exclusion of the person who's out there getting things done that's expecting more of the manager.
And if this is hard for you, remember the old adage of praise in public, criticize in private. If you're recognize those real contributions that people are making publicly, so that they really do feel the recognition. And but if there's truly a performance gap, have that gap privately addressed. Here's the good news: if you're doing respect-based performance coaching, you're in a regular rhythm with these people and have a chance to practice care and candor, as we've talked about before,
Mm-hmm.
and having opportunities to grow people and recognize people and hear complaints from those high performers that maybe you're legit, right? Like, what can I do to help this workplace be better for you, and for you to perform at a higher level? Maybe it is something real that needs to be addressed, instead of me labeling you as the guy trying to be the squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly, exactly.
All right, next one for you. Any
Um,
others?
yeah, I'm gonna go with as my final one. I'm going with 13. So
Yep.
13. Multiply the procedures and clearances involved in issuing instructions, paychecks, and so on. See that at least three people have to approve everything where one would do.
That's a very good one. That's a
Right?
very
If I'm going to you can almost see the machine just
Yep.
grinding to a halt,
Yep.
just slowly breaking down. It's like, okay, can we do this? Yeah, so and so said so, so and so said so, but so and so's out this week, so we can't do it until she gets back. Because I got to get
Yep.
I got to get all these people, and just the opposite of empowerment, the opposite of autonomy. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just destroy an organization.
and you can see how this happens, right?
Hmm.
We've had some sort of it was a shrinkage issue, or on a budget line item, and or we had this one bad thing happen this one time, and so now we have to sign off on a form in triplicate, and you have to get somebody from two levels up to approve this particular thing before it happens, and we've just become overly cautious, right?
Hmm.
And the flatter the organization, the more they're able to just go, right, and respond and adapt in the market, and to what's happening day to day. And you know if it's safe to make decisions like that, they will make decisions like that. You hired good people; they can do it. They're not going to need a three-way check to make that happen.
Oh yeah. Well, I think about our situation. We worked on a couple of projects together, and
Hmm.
we were working for a big bureaucracy,
Yep.
and we were out here just doing our thing, kind of disconnected from the organization.
Yep.
And occasionally, a rule would come down, and it would say, from this point forward, everybody must do such and such.
Yep.
And then we would call each other and we would go, did you have any idea that you didn't have to do such and such? Like, no, I didn't know we could be doing that. And we'd have a good laugh. But yeah, and then we'd get together 2 or 3 times a year as a group, and that's when we would get filled in.
Yeah.
We
Then
go,
we'd hear
okay,
the story
yeah,
on.
where did this excessive procedure sign off thing come from?
Yep.
Well, the way I heard it, Bob in Kansas, he was doing this, and they finally caught him, and so now we all have to do all this extra stuff. You're like, well, couldn't we just go kill Bob in Kansas and not do all the extra stuff? No. We're just going to make more procedures, more rules, more sign-offs, and stuff like that. But yeah, it would happen fairly regularly where, yeah, a new rule, a new procedure, some complication to the work, and it just slowed everything down. And
Yep.
some people left. At some point, the scale tipped where they said, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Right? All these goofy things they have me doing is not worth the value of the work that I want to do. And these good people just left.
Yep. I think that's spot on. The only other one I was going to mention is number 11, hold conferences when there is more critical work to be done. And it kind of goes along with 12, multiply paperwork in plausible ways. More approvals and regulations. Kind of goes back to what you just said. But, we have a habit. There's a fear of missing something. We've got, just sort of a culture that says, well, we're making progress because we're doing activities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the meeting, the paperwork isn't the thing that is the high performing activity that leads to the result. It's just activity. Sometimes it's needed. Sometimes the meeting is the thing that is going to move us forward. But we're equating activity with progress, and those layers of approval. There was some past error. It's what we just talked about. That we feel like we have to review more. But yeah, streamline that which does not lead to that end result. The question that we can just be asking ourselves through this whole thing is, does this serve the customer, or is it slowing us down? And most of this stuff is just meant to slow us down by causing us to repeat errors or just take more time or second guess, interactions with other people and directions from other people. Is there some way that we can just serve the customer instead of going through these extra steps that are slowing us down? So streamline what doesn't hold value. Maybe that conference you were wanting to hold needs to be just a stand-up huddle where we don't even sit down and we are there just to make the one decision, and it's very clear going in. You're getting better at having meetings if you're doing that. But yeah, just streamline what you're doing, and just keep asking, does this serve the customer or just slow us down?
Oh, yeah. And I have a question for that when I'm working with a manager. We're about to go into a meeting. Before the meeting, I asked the manager, I said, all right, so what are your people going to do more, better, different, or less because we
Yep.
had this meeting?
Yep.
And sometimes they'll go, well, I'm when I walk in the room, it just kind of comes to me what I need to talk about.
Danger.
Okay.
Danger.
Yeah, this is not going to be good. And many times their team members have already told me the meetings are a complete waste of time. And so, yeah, if and I tell them, right, so what is the purpose of the meeting? What are people going to do differently because we had the meeting? And if you don't know, cancel the meeting.
Yep.
Your team will love you for it.
Yep.
Yeah, we were about to have a meeting that could have been an email, as
Yep.
as the meme goes. But really nothing, there was nothing, no learning, no behavior
to it.
change, nothing, and the behavior change could simply just be, a more positive attitude, better morale, higher execution. Those are acceptable reasons. But if you have no idea what they're supposed to do different because you're about to have a meeting, then cancel the meeting. Make yourself happier, make them happier.
Yep.
Right. Everybody wins at that point.
I love it. Well, yeah, just to summarize, these behaviors that we're talking about are probably not done with malice, right? You don't have guerrilla warriors for the most part. They're fairly normal responses, given how human nature works, right? It's the unclear expectations, fear that they have, pressure that they have, something missing in the system, right? And so, we invite you, dear listeners, both of you, to just wrestle with this. Just be open about it and talk about what could we be shaving out of our daily, weekly, monthly behaviors that are it's really just not helping. And it probably starts with you, right? Look in the mirror first, because it's going to trickle down to the rest of your people. But it's probably not malice. You just need to figure out what it is that you could do to contribute to taking that problem away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, a little self-reflection. If one of these struck home, maybe there's some work to be done there. Or just had this thought, you could play this podcast to your team and just watch for the ones they hoot and holler at the loudest. Right. When they start
or give the side eye to the one guy.
Yeah. When they start slapping their leg and pointing at the screen, you're like, oh, yeah, that one must be going on around here. Yeah. Or if everybody, like you said, everybody kind of just looks at each other. Just puts their heads down. You go, all right, maybe that's a sabotage that's inadvertently happening here.
Right.
May need to be addressed.
That's right.
It may be time.
Right.
Oh, fantastic stuff. All right, stay tuned. We're going to have a third episode on this, and you're going to love it, because now we're going to get into office workers. Mm-hmm. I know some of you are excited about that. And then our all-time favorite, employees. So what are employees doing to sabotage? What can office workers do to sabotage an organization's productivity? So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we're going to turn it over to our always wonderful announcer, somebody who's been with us almost since the beginning. Take it away, Mr. Wolf.
So go ahead and tweet that, or share it any other way you want. As always, there are no rights reserved, no trademarks, no copyrights. Share it if you want to. And join us next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.